Hey, so I just wanted to give you guys another way to look at this week's fast forward challenge. And as you see in the challenge post, the fast forward challenge is about getting to visualize and conceptualize and really internalize what it is and that you are going to feel like, be like, look like in a year from now, given the goals and the bucket list and the systems and all the things that we've talked about. If you haven't kind of started to catch on to what's going on these first couple of weeks here in the Make Positive Health Change, we're really just starting to lay the foundation of what it's going to take to make the changes to be sustainable and to really make this thing last all year. You may or may not know that the average New Year's resolution lasts just 13 days, which is pathetic. But this isn't just a resolution. This is something that we are trying to make a lifestyle out of, to make positive health change in 2020. And so, another way that I like to look at this fast forward challenge is to look at what is the vision, how to make a vision story out of this year and this fast forward challenge. People connect to nothing more powerfully than stories. Stories have been used for generations and generations and millions of years, passing down from person to person, thousands of years maybe, I don't know. Not a historian, but there's definitely nothing on earth and nothing in life that we internalize and we connect to more than stories. And so when you're looking at this fast forward challenge, don't just write it out as steps, right? I like to look at it also as a story. And so, and I also like to look at it maybe even past that 1 year mark so that I can work backwards so that I can focus on the 1 year that I'm looking at, right? So I may look at 5 years from now, and then 3 years from now, and then 1 year from now. And then I may even do a little bit less in 6 months and 3 months so that I can start to look at the big picture of what I'm trying to change my life into, right? And I've done this so many times in business and in my personal life, and it's really helped me, right? So, you might start out, some of the things that the post list here is that envision yourself in your life. What do you want to feel like? What do you want to look like? How do you want to spend your days? And what has changed, right? And so, and what you can do is, how I would start this is, it's 2025 and I am all the things that I want to be, right? You fill in the blank there. I feel like I'm energized, I'm happy, I have more love in my life, I have more significance, I have, more gratitude for the things that I want to have. And that's really helped me get a better view on life and takes X, Y, and Z steps. My life has changed in so many ways. Here's what my family looks like. Here's what my job looks like, my income, my health. All these things are linked, my relationships. All these things are linked. I'd write that out. I spend my days doing X, Y, and Z. Get super focused on this one because it's the little habits created daily that are going to get us to the bigger goals. So, what does your morning routine look like? If there's one thing I've learned in the years of creating a business and being around other people who have businesses is that the most successful people in life have a morning and an evening routine. They have habits. All right. And so I get up in the morning and this is how I make sure I get myself up. This is how I set my intention. This is how I focus. This is what I eat. This is what I drink. This is how I transition from time to time. This is what I write for my to-do list. I get my body ready by doing mobility. And then I go to work and the things that I focus on in the car are, and then whenever I get to work, the things that I do to transition from point A to point B are, and I think about these things. Get super focused on how do you spend your day. I think that is even one of the biggest things in here. But the actual biggest is the final question. What has changed? And a lot of times people want the result, but they don't want to change who they are or what they do. Never going to work. All right. And so really, you can look at this question as what has changed. I like better also, and just thinking this through after I wrote it back a couple of days is, who is the person that I need to be in order to live my life this way? And then what changes would I have had to make to get to being that new person that does X, Y, and Z consistently, right? I really love to look at it that because it kind of really narrows the focus down even more. Again, this is a chance to build a big, better, healthy life, one that you're proud of every day. It sucks whenever we aren't proud of the person that we're being. And it's part of the reason why I started this group. I hope you don't think that like I'm this perfect example. One of the reasons that I started this group, and you may have seen it, is that I struggle with depression, anxiety, and mental illness. But teaching, allowing me to do these things that whenever I'm really consistent, whenever I'm being the highest level of myself, I am teaching. And doing that helps me heal from these things that help me. I 100% believe that all lives aren't created equal, so we can never compare ourselves. There's a different level of difficulty that everybody has been, and my connection just broke out, so hopefully it caught that. There's a different level of difficulty that everybody has in the life that they live. So it's like, everybody's life is a video game, if you're familiar, and we can set the setting on novice or intermediate or advanced or pro, right? Some people live their lives and their setting is such a novice. Some of us have to overcome more early in our lives, and we have a higher level of difficulty. And so, if we compare ourselves to somebody who's living their life at a different difficulty level that we have no control over, we're really going to set ourselves up for failure. So where I'm really going with this is that we can't compare ourselves to anybody else. We all live in a different difficulty level, and therefore we need to be different people than who we are now versus who we were. And we cannot spend and waste time in the negative thought. It just cut out. I got a phone call. So, where we want to do is we want to get clarity on who we need to be, the thought processes that we need to have, the habits that we need to create to be this highest level person that we are. Because if we live without these purposes, if we live being anything less than the highest version of ourselves, we are going to feel guilty in our minds. And when we feel guilty, we beat ourselves up, and there's negativity, which brings us down even another step. And it just compounds and compounds and compounds until we end up with poor health habits, poor wealth habits, poor relationship habits, and we need to make drastic changes, which is what we're trying to avoid. We want to slowly start to work our way up to more positive habits. So I hope that this helped you get a good idea of how to use this week's Fast Forward Challenge. Please leave comments. Everybody's here to make positive change in their life, and the only way that's going to happen is to join in the conversation, become part of the community, and start to really commit to the changes that you need to make. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to direct message me through the group. If you're watching this on YouTube later, you can email me at ryan@wadetrained, WADETRAINED.com. You can find me on Instagram at Find Your Inner Strength. Forgot for my handle for a second. And or just leave a comment. I'll do my best to get back to everybody. And thank you for listening.